If you're a die-hard Browns fan and love breaking down the game like we do, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss a blitz. In a moment that transcended the boundaries of sport, Cleveland Browns rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders stepped into a leadership role far beyond the football field this week, after a devastating explosion and fire rocked the Rainbow Terrace apartments in East Cleveland last month, displacing over 40 residents and tragically claiming the life of one man. Sanders chose to respond not with words alone, but with action. On Wednesday, he hosted the Garden Valley Fun Fest right at the site of the tragedy, a community gathering meant to bring joy, hope, and unity to those impacted by the disaster. The event wasn't just a token gesture, it was a heartfelt offering, filled with free food, drinks, haircuts, games, and that unmistakable sense of community that sports often inspire. Sanders' presence served as a powerful symbol, a reminder that athletes are not just entertainers or statistics, they are people who can make a real, meaningful difference when it matters most. What makes Shedeur Sanders' response so notable is how organic and personal it was. He wasn't nudged by a PR team or pressured by media expectations. In fact, Sanders wasn't even in town when the tragedy struck. He learned about the explosion not from the news or official reports, but from a direct message on Instagram. That's the kind of grassroots awareness that speaks volumes about the kind of person he is. While many in his position might have offered thoughts and prayers from a distance, Sanders immediately began reaching out to community leaders to ask what he could do. The result was not only a successful event, but a powerful display of initiative and empathy. It's rare to see a 21-year-old rookie quarterback take on such a significant off-the-field role before even playing a down in the NFL, but that's exactly what Shedeur Sanders has done in Cleveland, is already feeling the impact. The Garden Valley Fun Fest wasn't just a community cookout or a fleeting public appearance. It was a dynamic and well-thought-out day of healing and joy. Residents gathered under the summer sun, sharing stories, meals, and laughter, if only for a few hours, escaping the weight of loss and trauma. The games gave children a sense of normalcy. The haircuts helped restore confidence. And the presence of someone like Sanders transformed an ordinary gathering into something inspiring. It was a scene that felt far removed from tragedy, yet never lost sight of its purpose: to lift the spirits of those affected and to remind them that they are not alone. For a community still reeling from the June 23rd fire, this festival served as a bridge between pain and possibility. Built by someone who had no obligation to help, but felt the moral responsibility to do so. Of course, Sanders wasn't alone in this effort. He was joined by his Browns teammate, defensive lineman Mike Hall Jr., who also spent time engaging with fans and families. The two young players even led an impromptu game of football with local kids, an image that may one day feel iconic to Browns fans if Sanders' career blossoms as many expect it will. These were not rehearsed moments for the camera, but genuine expressions of care, warmth, and community connection. It's often said that football can bring people together, and in this case, it did just that off the field, with no scoreboard, no stats, and no stadium, just human beings sharing in something real. The sight of kids laughing, chasing passes from an NFL quarterback on the very grounds where grief had so recently struck, was profoundly moving. When Shedeur Sanders was selected by the Cleveland Browns as the 144th overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the headlines largely focused on his lineage, being the son of Hall of Famer Deion Sanders and his promising college career. But at his very first press conference with the Browns, Sanders made a statement that's looking more and more prophetic by the day. He said he wanted to be deeply involved in the Cleveland community. For many rookies, those words would be a well-rehearsed part of the introductory script, forgotten the moment the cameras turned off. But Sanders is proving he meant every syllable. His actions this week have laid the foundation for a legacy that could stretch far beyond what he accomplishes on the field. He's showing that being a quarterback is not just about throwing touchdowns, it's about showing up when it matters. The local response has been overwhelmingly positive. Residents express gratitude not just for the event, but for the feeling of being seen and supported by someone in Sanders' position. Coverage from News 5 Cleveland highlighted how the quarterback emphasized bringing back a family atmosphere, and that goal was clearly achieved. This wasn't a one-size-fits-all charity drive, it was tailored to what the community needed. It offered dignity, levity, and a sense of togetherness that's often missing after a crisis. Sanders didn't just drop in for a quick photo op. He stayed for hours, posed for pictures, chatted with attendees, and immersed himself in the moment. for many in attendance. The event wasn't just about recovery, it was about reclaiming a piece of joy that the Fire tried to steal, and Sanders was right there in the center of it, not as a star, but as a neighbor. The timing of the event is also worth noting. With Browns training camp just days away, rookies like Sanders and Hall Jr. are expected to report to Berea on Friday. He easily could have cited his professional obligations as a reason to delay or delegate. Instead, he carved out time in the middle of what is arguably one of the most important transitional weeks of his life. That speaks volumes about his priorities and his character. It also sets a precedent for the kind of presence he hopes to have in Cleveland, both as an athlete and as a citizen. With football just around the corner, many players are already mentally immersed in playbooks and depth charts. Sanders, on the other hand, has already thrown one of the most important passes he'll make all year straight to the heart of his new community. This moment could very well be a defining chapter in the early stages of Sanders' NFL journey, while his on-field performance will ultimately determine the trajectory of his professional career. Moments like the Garden Valley Fun Fest shape the legacy he leaves behind. Fans remember clutch throws and big games, sure, but they also remember when a player made them feel seen, heard, and supported. Sanders has created that moment for dozens of families in East Cleveland, for children who threw footballs with an NFL quarterback in their neighborhood. That memory may become a core part of their childhood. For parents and grandparents dealing with displacement and grief, Sanders offered not just a distraction, but genuine compassion. And for the city of Cleveland, he's offering a vision of what a sports hero can be. If Sanders continues on this path, his impact in Cleveland could mirror that of other legendary athletes who embraced their adopted hometowns with open arms. Think of LeBron James in Akron or Jim Brown's civic work in Cleveland. While Shedeur is just starting out, the seeds he's planting now are already beginning to take root. He has the charisma, the visibility, and most importantly, the heart to be a true ambassador for the Browns and the city they represent. In many ways, he's already ahead of the curve. Rookie quarterbacks are often taught to focus solely on the game, to block out distractions and keep their eyes on the playbook. But Sanders is rewriting that narrative, showing that empathy and excellence aren't mutually exclusive. They can, and should, coexist. Ultimately, the Garden Valley Fun Fest was a celebration of more than just recovery. It was a testament to community resilience and to the emerging leadership of a young athlete who's proving he belongs not just in the NFL, but in the hearts of the people who make Cleveland what it is. In just one day, Sanders turned grief into joy, absence into presence, and uncertainty into hope. As he prepares to take his first NFL snaps, he's already made a crucial one off the field, a perfect spiral of support, care, and leadership. It's the kind of play that won't show up in stat sheets or highlight reels, but it might just be the most important of his rookie season. And if this is how Shedeur Sanders begins his journey in Cleveland, Browns fans and the community at large have every reason to be excited about what comes next. Enjoying the content so far? Smash that like button and drop your take in the comments. We want to hear what you think about the Browns this season. Aaron Donald, one of the most dominant defensive players in the history of the NFL, might be on the verge of pulling off one of the most shocking moves in recent memory. Rumors are swirling across league insiders and social media circles that Donald, who had long been associated with the Los Angeles Rams, could be heading to the Cleveland Browns. That's right, according to multiple speculative reports and behind-the-scenes chatter. A mega deal may already be on the table, and some sources suggest it's practically a done deal. While no official confirmation has been released from either the Rams or the Browns, the buzz has been steadily gaining traction over the past few days. What makes this potential move even more astonishing is how under the radar it has remained. Until now, the very idea of Aaron Donald donning the orange and brown has already sent waves of excitement and confusion across fan bases. This possible signing raises a multitude of questions. What does this mean for the Browns' defensive identity, with Myles Garrett already terrorizing quarterbacks off the edge? Adding Aaron Donald to that front could create a pass-rushing duo for the ages. Opposing offenses would be forced to completely rework their protection schemes. Imagine trying to double-team Garrett only to have Donald crash the middle with his signature power and technique. The defensive line could become a nightmare scenario for every AFC offense, especially when you factor in the Browns' improving secondary and linebacker cores. Donald's leadership and postseason experience would also bring a calming, disciplined influence to a young and hungry defense that has occasionally struggled with consistency. If these rumors are true, This is not just a big move, it's potentially a franchise-defining moment that could instantly shift the balance of power in the AFC North and even the entire conference. But what would drive a player like Donald, who had seemingly flirted with retirement and had already cemented his Hall of Fame legacy with the Rams, to join a team like the Browns? One popular theory is that he wants to chase one more ring before he officially hangs up his cleats. With the Rams appearing to be in a transitional phase, and the Browns showing serious potential in recent seasons, it might make sense for Donald to align himself with a contender that has yet to reach its ceiling. Another possibility is financial. Sources close to the situation hint that Cleveland has put together a mind-blowing offer, potentially making Donald the highest-paid defensive player on a short-term deal. This would not only respect his legacy, but also reward him handsomely for a final championship run. And let's not forget, Cleveland's front office has never shied away from swinging big when they smell an opportunity. It's also worth considering the impact of head coach Kevin Stefanski and defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz in potentially luring Donald to Cleveland. Schwartz is well known for building ferocious defensive lines, and pairing Garrett with Donald could be the centerpiece of a scheme that turns the Browns into a top 3 defense overnight. Insiders claim that there have been conversations between Donald and several Browns veterans, including Garrett himself, in what might have been an unofficial recruiting pitch. The atmosphere in the locker room is said to be buzzing, with many players reportedly told to stay ready for a major announcement. If the coaching staff has managed to convince Donald that the team is primed for a Super Bowl run, that might have been the final ingredient needed to make this move real. And if that's the case, it's a seismic shift in the NFL landscape. Let's not ignore the storyline potential here. Aaron Donald has spent his entire professional career in one uniform, and seeing him suit up for another team, especially one that has long been an underdog, would instantly become one of the biggest talking points of the season. This wouldn't just be a roster move, it would be a culture shift. Donald's presence would elevate the standard of accountability, professionalism, and competitiveness across the entire franchise. Young players would benefit from his work ethic, while veterans would see a renewed sense of urgency. The Browns have always had talent, but questions about leadership and big game mentality have lingered. If there's one player who knows how to perform when it matters most, it's Aaron Donald. If these rumors are true, then Cleveland is not just getting a player, they're getting a proven winner. The reaction from Rams fans has already begun trickling in, even without official confirmation. Many are in disbelief, others are heartbroken, and a few are even understanding. Donald gave everything to that franchise: Defensive Player of the Year awards, a Super Bowl title, and a level of play that redefined the interior pass rush position. But as the NFL often reminds us, loyalty and legacy don't always keep a player in one place forever. There's also speculation that the Rams have quietly been preparing for this eventuality, stockpiling draft capital and cap space if they knew Donald might walk, or even encouraged it as a way to reset and rebuild. Then this transition may have been in motion for longer than we realized. Still, seeing one of the league's most feared defenders leave Los Angeles would mark the end of an era. Meanwhile, the city of Cleveland is bracing for what could be a transformative offseason. The Browns fan base is already electric, but the mere possibility of Aaron Donald joining their squad has taken things to a fever pitch. Talk radio shows are flooded with callers speculating on how this move could impact playoff aspiration. Social media is exploding with mock graphics of Donald in Browns gear, and jersey customizers are already taking pre-orders. In a city that's long suffered heartbreaks and false starts, this kind of news hits differently. It feels like hope, not hype. If this deal really happens, expect the entire city to rally behind a team that could very well become a juggernaut. The Dawg Pound, already one of the most passionate fan bases in football, would explode with energy at the idea of pairing to generational defensive talents in the same front. It's important to remember, though, that at this stage, everything is still technically a rumor. There have been no press conferences, no tweets from verified insiders confirming the deal, and certainly no photos of Donald arriving at Browns facilities. But where there's smoke, there's usually fire, and right now, there's a lot of smoke. Multiple anonymous league executives have allegedly confirmed interest from both sides. NFL insiders are refusing to dismiss the reports, and even some players have posted cryptic messages hinting at big things to come. Whether it's an agent move, a media stunt, or the real deal, the buzz around Aaron Donald and the Browns isn't going away, and honestly, that's half the excitement, the anticipation, the guessing game. and the possibility that we're witnessing one of the most unexpected power shifts in recent memory. From a strategic standpoint, this would be a masterclass by the Browns front office. Pulling a move like this in the middle of a conference where Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, and Patrick Mahomes reign supreme shows serious ambition in today's NFL. You need more than just a good quarterback, you need stars who can swing games. On one play, Donald can do that. He's proven it time and again. This would also be a move that signals to the locker room and the league that Cleveland is done waiting for its moment. They want to take it, and in doing so, they may finally erase years of being seen as underachievers or lovable losers. Suddenly, the Browns could become the hunted rather than the hunters. That changes everything. The psychology of playing Cleveland changes, and that's the power a player like Aaron Donald brings. Ultimately, whether this deal is real or just an off-season fever dream, it's already done something important. It's reignited passion and speculation in a way few NFL stories can. That's the magic of players like Aaron Donald. They don't just impact the game, they shape the narrative. And right now, that narrative might be heading straight through Cleveland. Fans and analysts alike will be watching closely over the next few days for any official word. But if this move actually goes through, you can bet it will dominate headlines for weeks, maybe even months. Aaron Donald to the Cleveland Browns. It's the kind of rumor that feels too wild to believe until it happens. And if it does, the NFL landscape might never be the same again. Thanks for riding with us on another Browns Blitz. If you liked the video, share it with a fellow fan, hit subscribe, and ring that bell so you're always part of the Dawg Pound conversation. Go Browns!